Hey, welcome to episode 3 of our high key episode podcast. I messed it up, didn't I?
No,
Can we, can
we
we
good,
start
we
it
good.
again?
We good, we good. Just go.
I was ready.
I'm leaving all this in, so just go for it.
No!
All right,
I love it. I
I
love
got it,
it.
I got it. Yeah, so this is it. This is episode.
All right, this is
This
episode 3. This is our
episode three.
casual segue
Yeah,
in.
this is
Totally
how we get
vulnerable on
into it.
my part. That's great. You guys get to see all facets of me.
Yeah,
But
gotta,
yeah, welcome to our authentic journey of, this podcast. So I like that we're doing this. It's great.
yeah. I'm glad to be back. This felt longer than like the previous episode. I don't know. I feel like we talked about like time shifting, so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of feeling different. And I don't know. Maybe it's just like the weather. Like it's been gloomy here these past couple of days. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
the weather kind of makes it feel a bit more heavy.
It's so funny that you mentioned that. I did a post on my Seventh Goddess channel, and I was of like the energy that I was picking up today, and it was speaking on like being more mindful of the environment. So it's interesting that you bring that up because the weather here today is also very in New York is very gloomy. It's raining. It's raining
Yeah,
today.
my mom's told me. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's adding to that overall energy. But as far as time is concerned, I agree. It's still fast, but the stretch of time from the like first episode to our second is narrower, if that makes
right.
sense.
Yeah, if so, like just like maybe 10 minutes ago, I got an email from a vendor. Just like looking into automobile products for one of the companies I work for,
Mm-hmm.
and she was just like, she gave me information, and then she just kind of went. She just wanted like a little update about like work, her personal life, and she ended the email saying, "Glad the world is opening again." And it just hit me heavy for some reason. Like just thinking about like the transition and like the significance, like the world is opening again. What does that really
What
mean?
does that mean? What do you
And
think it means? Without her
I saw.
context, if you can try to
I
do
mean,
that.
for her, I guess just going back to life pre COVID, pre 2020. Not pre 2020. I don't know where to go back to, right? Because before that, people had issues with the president. So what is there to go to, right? There's nothing to go back to. We have to move
Mm-hmm.
forward, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what I'm. That's the weight that kind of sat on me. Is thinking about most of us don't really know what we're going back into. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not what we think it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
not what we
Mm-hmm.
think it is,
Mm-hmm.
and we've let go of so much over these
Mm-hmm.
past few months. I don't know, just always wondering what's next, and growing up watching movies, you see all the negative outcomes of what future can become, right? We see, everything's predicted, right? Everyone that's art. It's inspiring us to kind of see where our lives can take us on negative aspects or positive aspects. But when you think about movies about the future, it's always doom and gloom.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel, I feel like we're there, and I don't. I, I guess I'm more concerned about people not realizing that we're not. We lost. I mean, that's how I say it. I just say we lost. That's
Yeah,
it.
I see what you're
We lost.
saying. I see what you're
Yeah.
saying, but I'd like to challenge that for a second because for the element of feeling lost, I feel like it's also a great new reset in order
Right.
to maintain that level of, oh, do I love this word, hope, and to have faith, you know? It's an element that is very strange for all of us because it hit us all in such a worldly aspect. It's undeniable that we all were victim of that of of the world pre-COVID, right? Pre 2020, whatever it means for us, or for even her to say, oh, I'm glad the world is opening up again. And it's weird because it's like when I hear that, I'm afraid the same way with you in the regard of feeling that uh it does that I'm wondering, does that mean you think it's back to normal? Because there is no normal. It does, like, I feel like there's no
No,
going
of
back to
course.
where we once
Yeah.
were, right? And that's that's, I feel, is the blank, like the line of like insert feeling. I don't know what's going on, and
Right.
it brings at, and the only thing that we do have is what you then mentioned, is like movies that predict a future, and then it's like all gloom and doom, and it's what is the hope, what is the faith, kind of the argument of where we can have contextual emphasis to try to resonate with why we feel what we feel, whether it's through examples of music, through examples of prophets, whether examples through literature, history, education, news, or even movies. It's trying to put that all into some form of I want to say at this point purpose, because what is
Right.
the purpose of it all, right? What is the purpose
Right.
of it all? What are you going to now sit with and try to still gain a slivering of, I don't know, what is that,
Right.
like
Yeah. I mean,
perseverance, survival mode, like
that's what the shift is now, right? Like
hmm
figuring out purpose for a lot of us, and it's embracing the idea of purpose, embracing
hmm
the idea of living free and kind of disconnecting from the, I guess I use like the systemic, like corporate school limits that we once faced. So you see more young entrepreneurs. You see everyone. Not you see everyone. You see a lot of people diving into passions, and it's creating the various
hmm
small businesses.
right,
Um, and that's one aspect that we also see of the future, right? Everyone has
correct,
everyone's a little vendor. Everyone's doing a little side hustle, which is
correct,
dope.
correct,
But
correct.
on what level do we allow I guess for me, like the extremities, we're just becoming more extreme. People um, siding with the establishment. Just a year ago they were pissed off at, and then you have like literally everyone else, right? It's just those two extremes, and just looking to see where it evolves into in these next few years. Like on my last couple of days, like what has society evolved into?
hmm
Thinking about the future, always worried, but as you said, hopeful. Like, that's your magic word.
I don't know if it's my magic word. It's not my magic word. I have to be real.
Okay.
It's not my magic word, because for my own biases that I have towards the struggle of knowing what it means to maintain that idea of hope. It is
Right.
difficult. It is where we are all human, where we all have different means of expression and longing for that other, that right, the hopefulness, the strive, the motivation, whatever that is, and whatever we search for too. When we search for certain meanings in life, that fuels our hope, that fuels our passion. But that's where I linger more in that passion, where that fuels the hope. And that comes from me. My premise would be authenticity. That would be, again, that where I challenge that aspect of finding that self authentic means and being able to express that authentic means wherever that struggle may be. And this time around, we're in that political, I mean, not argumentatively, it's always been the struggle, but
Right. Right.
right now, blasted in our face is that we all have a wake up call to answer to. And whatever timeline that the individual needs to understand that, I'm here enough to be compassionate of that. But at face value, I think it's clear that the whole reset, the whole timeline of it all, it does mean a reset. And for me to chime the word hope, yeah, it's for with respect for those individuals who have been on a path that deem themselves confident in whatever they believe in, and to maintain that will, but to also remain humble. It's more of collectivity at this point, in
Right.
communal ways of being able to express our feelings. And often enough right now, the blasted thing in our face is it's mostly through differences that we are having these conversations or trying to find connections. And it's having to express, wait, I don't even agree with you because this. And this is a
Right.
totally different active conversation that I think it's challenging people, because that's something that is, I can speak for myself and the generation that I have been made in contact with throughout my time, but That is not something that we were taught. We were not taught to. We were taught in a way to be narcissistic and have overconfidence, and then chase a dream that isn't really self sustainable in one way or another. And then we have the other aspect of, succumb to always follow the rules. And now we're in a point where, do we have to question collectively what the rules are that is for all of us, that brings us together collectively, and but that also doesn't divide us as the differences that we do have just based on experience and opinion. So I think that's the weird part about not really knowing where the future holds. But the excited element is to understand that now it gives people the permission to kind of do their own thing, and it would establish the vendor lifestyle. The I have this to offer. What do you have? And that kind of type of trading, if you want to say, because
Right.
it's
Yeah.
also very very prevalent to where the economy is going. That self independent banking.
Yeah. It's I guess it's part of being being part of the experience, and I mean, I'm sure every generation has their cultural and generational shift. Um, a lot of it is race related, like for me, and I feel like maybe for you, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure has as heavily as me. Um, and I think part of the like even the brand itself, and with like the models from Mount Melanin subtitle, it's about chasing the growth and the experience from the perspective of the root of what blackness is, because you don't really get that. I feel like you do, but I feel like in most cases it feels very cliche. It feels very I guess I've seen it before, and that's also partly because there aren't that many West Indian shows, right? Like now you see them, now they have like YouTube shows, now they have TV channels, but as a I guess as a collective, I think there's still so much that's not being introduced, and that we all aren't taking part in. There's still more divisiveness between us, because we can go back into those subgroups. I can go on a Haitian American subreddit and like disconnect from the American experience as much as I want to or need to, or just kind of find a balance. Um, so the goal, I guess, is to just put it out for everyone. Although it's for Black people specifically, but by default, everyone kind of takes part in it, and everyone understands how to just kind of express and be at that peak. Be at the
Blending.
hike, right? Yeah, be
Mm-hmm.
at the hike
Yeah,
of the hike to
correct.
kind of really vocalize and be seen and vibrate, right? Vibrate and
Right,
be at the top. Yeah,
right, right. That's beautiful. That's
yeah,
beautiful. That's where I chime in. That's like the high key way of having an existential life. Raising those vibrations and honoring every vibration that we're vibrating on every step of the journey. Meaning there is some low dimensional pain that frequencies that don't feel good, and we can raise ourselves through experiences. And then we meet political situations all the time. History speaks in it for itself in the aspect of what it means to be Black, and diving into what we've been educated up to this point of what it means to be Black, where we were either argumentative speaking, for some being distracted from in that aspect of what it really means politically, what it means to be Black. And that is remarkable for me to see that there is again a reset of
right,
that ability to dive into, like you said, different cultures and find a way to also disconnect to reconnect. And that is honoring what I always love in the journey of life experience, and being able to utilize, again, where I say in conversations, the tools that are available to us at every time, should we choose to see it or not, should we choose to ask for it or not, right, if we're aware of those things. And I can only speak from it in a way that I resonate with it, and it's like the universe gives us these blessings to be able to see those things, and then we hit with
right,
real life. And real life is is engaging with people, is engaging with other humans, and the structure that has been built upon that structure from eons of time, and then where it could go into the future. And that battlefield has always existed. And I think this is such an interesting time to kind of be witness towards, really in my own flesh and blood, to see where people decide to go in life, what they decide to open up for themselves or not. Or, like, this is very interesting time for that.
Where do you see yourself going? Let's
Good
say
question. Good question.
3.5 years from now. Let's
Hmm.
make it a little a funky number.
I mean, at this point, it's again honoring for myself my own type of business, my own way of establishing entrepreneurship, and mix it with my authentic way of my journey, and that means my spiritual journey. And to not make that also very sounding cliche, it's to break the barrier of what it means to be cliche, either spiritually or human, whatever, just to spark that conversation. And I want to be able to establish that foundation, be on be on that journey in the next few years, to establish that foundation for my future self, for that communal sense.
Do you see yourself establishing it in New York?
uh New York, it will definitely, New York will be a huge, it's prevalent for it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm establishing it in New York per se, but the influence of New York, and I think the effect of it will be very important for New York.
Right.
Let's put it
Right.
that way.
I get that.
Yeah. So let's hope.
How
Let's
how
hope.
how, how have these 2 weeks been since recreational has passed out there?
Oh,
You see it
yeah.
everywhere, you smell it everywhere, or is it just pretty much the same?
It's the same. It's the same. That's why I'm like, where's everybody at? Where's everybody
Whoever was doing it was already doing it, right? Like,
at? It's not even just that. I mean, unfortunately, I'm in a situation where I walk, I'm like, who's my audience? I'm like, because I'm in a situation where I walk outside and I see everyone with masks on. So, considering yourself that it's a recreational situation now and everyone's still wearing a mask, I think people are in a mentality of that struggle right now. If I had to look at it from that perspective, nobody wanting to, struggle with smoking and taking off the mask, just seeing it be like a fiasco in and of itself. So now people are just, yeah, I see it in like some stoops, it's the same thing. It was the same thing before.
I feel like I saw a Reddit post where someone was making fun of weed smokers. Like, I thought you guys believe in like natural herb. Like, why do you want to take vaccines, or why you wear a mask? And I just thought it
Good
was funny
point.
to an extent.
Good
I thought it was
point.
funny to an extent.
It's kind of the same comedic standpoint where I'm like, I thought you were spiritual. Why are you taking the vaccine? Oh, that gets me going. That gets me going. I'm not even ready. I don't know what part of myself I have to heal. But let me tell you something. I don't understand that at all. Like, at all. Like, especially if you promote, going back to herb, it's medicine, it's Mother Nature. Don't we trust what Mother Nature gives us? Ooh, isn't it
It's
pure?
the it's the disconnect. Like, just again, like this last year, yeah, wasn't fucking with them. Wasn't fucking with them as a whole, as an establishment, as a record label, like
You're
all of that,
right.
right?
It's everything.
But
That's everything.
now
But
it's just
now we're
like
here.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't. That's what I'm saying. Hope.
hope.
Hope. And this
So
is not to throw some shade on the word hope. It's to me comedic sense of that, because if you're gonna also on like psychologize, psychologize, I made that up, psychoanalyze,
it makes sense.
thanks, thank you, to psychoanalyze what it means laughter. In philosophy they talk about Plato, and I think or Socrates, one or the other, they talk about the fundamental things of what humans essentially need, and it's food, shelter, and laughter. And that's when I think I've thought about that, man. I've ever since I can remember that ringing in my bell when I was younger, I was like, I resonate with that understanding so much, because those are the premise. Like when you're in pain, laughter helps,
Right.
food also helps, and shelter is great, those are the
And
things. And
smoking weed too.
that's right. You add that on that. That's medicine. That's the next part of the conversation. That's like mind, body, soul, spirit, medicine.
Right. So 420 is coming up in a few days. You celebrate in any way, or how have you celebrated it in the past?
I've never had, I'm one of those, I've never really went into major events that celebrated 420. I think that would more answer to because I was going to ask you at one point, like, do you have certain people that you desire to smoke with? And I feel like that's part of it. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want to. I never really wanted to. I felt more comfortable smoking at home, like being comfortable at home and smoking, than like being at an event. So I never really went to events like that. I never had a chance. So I never really, like, even this time around. I don't know what's to come. I haven't heard anything through the grapevine. I'm like waiting. I'll let you know and let some write it somewhere, post it somewhere if I
right.
do. But yeah, no, nothing. I don't know. I feel like the most rebellious part would be like walking around without a mask and smoking. That's the
Right.
event.
That's how you
That's
really
the event of
celebrate.
420. That's the way I'm going to celebrate. Walk down the
Yeah,
block with, oh,
you're
such
supposed
a.
to. You got to
That's,
push the culture forward.
yeah, I mean, isn't that going back to normal? Like,
Right.
isn't that why we're so happy that things are opening up again?
Right.
I
Like
can
they even gave it to you. They said you could do
I
it,
have
and
permission.
you still don't want to do it.
And
Like
they
that's
even said, I
disconnected.
heard exactly, and I even heard that you even can't even get arrested anymore for not wearing a mask. I'm like, yo, wherever they let that ringer out, that is crazy. That is crazy that it even happened. That people literally were a victim for that. That is fucked up shit.
But
but either way, it's now into the siren of you can't get in trouble, like you're vaccinated, you can smoke now recreationally. Like,
and to your early point, there's compassion, right? Like just understanding that people are gonna make their choices. Just gotta learn to adapt, right? Just gotta adapt.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
all life is. Just adapting to whatever's going on
Let me
relatively.
tell you, it's like it's a struggle because now I'm up for that challenge of that being that person not wearing a mask on the subway. And let me tell you, because everyone is just like
You gamble
strapping
with your life.
strapping on. You have no idea. And do I gamble? Do I gamble? Apparently I'd love to gamble because I gamble with
why
that.
do
Like,
you why do you like to gamble? Why?
why do I like to gamble? One, it's not a gamble if it's real. And the real aspect of the truth is that
But
I'm
real is relative, though, right?
real is not relative in
It
the
is.
way of in the way it's not relative in a way if you're going to honor what the challenging question is. Why do I like to gamble? Because my idea of what a gamble is somebody who plays with money. But take the equation with money out of it, it's somebody's taking a risk, right? I'm if my argument for challenging that question, right, giving an answer to that question would be would be, well, I like to breathe. And before all my life, since I've been sick, for as long as they've been saying I've had an autoimmune deficiency by the doctors, they've written it down, they took my blood work. Like, in all the diseases I have not caught or have caught and I've conquered. And I have been my true, authentic way. Breathing was one case of helping me and enjoying my space, not fucking around with my mental anxiety because wearing a mask over my face, that lack of oxygen, if I have to take it that far in an argument, is something that gives me anxiety and that plays on my mental. Why would I do that to myself? So in the art of also then saying, well, I move from one place to another, if wherever I have to use transportation, and it's on a subway where I never needed a mask, and just there's a sign saying, oh, it's a requirement, but AKA service announcement, it's not a law. Um, it's not a gamble because I have real relative facts if I'm going to play the game
what are you squeezing in
of,
here?
well,
What are you squeezing?
it's
No,
like
no,
trying to put it
I'm just
in. I'm
making fun
like
of the
putting
gist.
the pieces. I know. I'm squeezing the density of the truth. Like, like forming the ball, like make it make sense. Where the act of me going on the subway without that amass is a gamble. I know it is, but it's
No,
not.
I never thought about
It's
that.
not.
You have an autoimmune disease, and you is it disease? Is that
It's
the
lupus.
correct
It's
term?
lupus. Yes, it's an autoimmune
Okay,
dysfunction. Autoimmune
dysfunction.
disease.
Okay,
Yeah. Hmm.
okay. And yeah, I never thought about that like duality. I feel like people with underlying conditions are more likely to be less likely to gamble. How about that?
There you go.
So
That's what it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. There's no other than me that I have met that continuously gambles, and that is part of my own journey of now honoring my self-expression and being authentic, because there's a level of truth that I have to be honest about, and that challenges people with all facets of questions as to why I do what I do, why I stand behind what I stand by,
right, right, right.
and the in that argument, well, I have very many means of factual relative uh, evidence for them to bring into the court of law. And just to negate, what is it that I'm playing with besides my own sovereign right? I've had these elements. I had lupus since I was 14. I've had a crazy health journey throughout crazy moments of life, which is high school, being 20s, going through that, having my own process of things, and challenging myself health wise too with what I eat, maintaining my lifestyle, the relationships I was in, all these facets. Lifestyle was my is something that I always gambled with, because when I then stepped in and asked for assistance most of my life, because with lupus, I'm not downplaying this shit at all. This is not something that is fun. It is just because I don't complain about it, and just because I don't hide behind something that I can advocate it, that I really do have it, meaning, I'm praising lupus people or funding this or part of a movement of some kind, doesn't take any value away from me not having what I have. It's just that I've kept it personal. This is a personal thing. This is a part of identity of me that makes me so different than anyone that I've personally met, and the people that I have met that have had lupus or had no people who've had it had not the best experience. People have passed away, and that again, it's always been something that I've kept on the ringer of my own mental strategy, that I would never want that to happen. That's been, call it whatever kind of mindset, the fuck it attitude, ignorance, whatever, but it's kept me
I
alive
was
up to
thinking
this
fuck
fucking
it
point.
earlier
Yeah,
too.
it's the
I
fuck
was
it
thinking you
attitude.
like fuck. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
I'm gonna
That's
do
what I was.
whatever the fuck I want to do, and I mean that shit. I mean that shit,
Yeah.
because that's
Who else
that
but you, right?
mentality, right? Because that mentality, not for nothing. I swear, on everything I love and don't know what's coming, that has kept me alive. That has kept me fucking alive. And I have stories that are just as much as that man was trying to. I've had great doctors. I love medicine, but I don't agree with many of the things that I was being told and stuff like that, with other people who were professionals that didn't have it, that couldn't relate on it in certain ways
Right.
that I felt it, that gave me my mentality that I have today, where I challenge society's standpoint in saying that it's safe for me, or safer for me, to put a mask on my face. I never needed a mask in my life, besides putting a bag over my face when I had a panic attack and I needed to breathe in carbon dioxide, because that's what people get taught to do when they have a panic attack. You breathe into a paper bag, and the carbon dioxide slows down your anxiety in that moment, right? So what we're doing now, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it in so many fundamental, deep levels of my life that I could go in many tangents of conversation. that, yeah, challenge me where I'm even playing. Because if I'm gambling anything, I'm gambling with my life if I'm paying attention to what the fuck is supposed to go on out there, right? Out there, right? I'm playing with my life, and I've traveled all over the country since last year without a mask, besides like having to when I needed to be on a plane, right? But I'm still alive. And I'm not saying it to gloat, and I'm not saying it to disrespect the people that I also know that have passed away. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not in my ego saying what I know, right? But I'm saying it to, again, answer the question why I gamble. I'm gambling because my life has told me what I know is right. And my right is I like to fucking breathe fresh air in, because that's dirty wherever you go. And here in New York, it ain't that clean either. So,
Right.
you know, it's a fucking attitude. Mad defenses. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, I mean, and I agree with. I mean, we would discuss like we have similar views in terms of what's going on big picture.
Oh yeah.
Me,
Mm-hmm.
give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm mostly just worried out of concern for other people. And I guess I look at it as sometimes I look at it as arrogance on my part because, like, I know my body, I know my health, I know I'm a healthy person. I I never at no point did I ever believe I would catch it. I just didn't think it would be likely. Um, or even if I did that, it would affect me just because of my human arrogance and just again, it's believing in my health routine and my lifestyle choices, I guess, in terms of how I take care of myself. But yeah, it's mostly just I'm just concerned about other people. I want to
Sure.
be fair to other people.
Sure.
So I hear you, but I still feel like on a social level,
Mm-hmm.
there's still a bit of I think if you want to be part of, of societies on certain levels, you give a little bit if it doesn't take too much out of you. I think there's always a little bit of
I
sacrifice
love that. I
required
love that
to be part of.
aspect.
I think
But I,
there's always a little bit you kind of give, and you pick and choose, right? And I think
me existing,
that's all. That's part of it. We pick and choose what we sacrifice.
true, true. But not even but. I have no disrespect to what you said. Um, there's a level of I value life for the life experience. And this is to honor how it also functions. Meaning, I came here alone. I don't have a twin in the aspect of actually, I came out of my mother's womb alone. And the idea of transitioning and death is that I'm experiencing that journey also alone. Does that mean I don't affect people during that journey? Does that mean that my presence when I birth don't make people happy? No, of course. I was celebrated for the birthing of me. It's just like I will be mourned in the death of my transition. That is the way I understand and also was taught, and what I can see through being part of something socially on a world aspect with what we all share as a human life experience, that element of respect, that's how it happens singularly in that linear form. It births and it dies with respect to everything that's living, apparently, with a plant, animal, whatever. So in respect of that, and honoring the preciousness of every single one of us that are alive on this planet, is to understand that we are unique. There's a reason why we're all here. Whether it's good or bad, it's out of the fucking question at this point. There's a reason why you're here, making you as an individual so unique. So, in that aspect of itself, being a connection to, let's call it for what people might resonate with more, being children of God that we all share in one way or another, whatever it is that you believe for, or if not either, I don't know. But if one can understand that, at least to the premise that we are the same of flesh, of human life, then that is already a social aspect of communal understanding if we honor this life experience in and of itself. So for me, being part of something socially and saying, give myself, the challenging part of what you're saying is not challenging what you're saying, but me bringing this up is that my pure existence in and of itself is me giving myself to the world. The fact that I had had anxiety with depression of my own mental health in my life, to play with my own existence, gives me authority of my life. And that's with respect to questioning people that, you know, suicide, having suicide thoughts, like all these things that are existential to what it means to live, puts me in the standpoint of knowing that it is ultimately all up to me. And
Right.
that aspect, though, for giving a little, is I respect it. I respect it. But the same conversation, if I'm going to chime in, and when I chime in, to see what people are using as a defense mechanism to say, well, it would make me more comfortable, is hasn't made sense up to this point. It hasn't made sense to me, because the arguments, or the what I hear is, well, I think that it minimalizes the contagion part. That's been debunked by facts. It's the it If I can reduce the spread, that has been debunked. Like all these things.
What if I say I would appreciate, I would like, what if I say, hey, I would appreciate it just because I have diabetes? What if I just I say I would appreciate it? Would you, do you
There are
think the
two.
language, do you think the language kind of shapes how you respond to it, or is it just
No, I mean,
zero
you'd
zero
have to.
tolerance across the board?
No, 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 no. I have respect for human people, for human life. So I will always oblige by the rules. If that movement, whatever brings comfort to other people, I will always do that. But it has to make sense. Meaning, what I'm bringing to that sense is not to negate it. I'm not challenging anybody's feelings here ever. That's not what I'm standing here. Especially when I'm on a spectrum of wanting to heal. That's not what healing means for me. What I mean is, I can't answer that question because I don't know the situation. Because nowadays I know what my reset is. I know what my hindsight 2020 is, and my 2020 insight I'd like to look upon for my future at this point in my life. So with that honoring, I'd have to question myself, what scenario am I in that that person is saying that? Because I'm in a situation where if I'm going somewhere and I'm being requested to wear a mask and I don't feel like I should, I will not go there. That is respect to both
Right.
me and the person. That's
Right.
just that's just it. If we can go in a situation, and then that's with zero disrespect or malice. That's, I understand you and I respect you. Do you respect me, kind of thing. We don't have to take it that far. But if it's, let's say somebody was to invite me over, like let's say family were to invite me over and I say I have to wear a mask. Again, I choose. Do I go over to my family's house? No, I then don't go, because I'm not going to also be that person to step in without a mask and make everyone else uncomfortable. That would be
Right.
that would be disrespectful on my fucking end. You know what I mean? So that's the element. So the question isn't what I'm doing personal life, because I have that in check. For me, it's the question of what I do publicly, because that's what the challenge is. The challenge is for me, communitively and collectively, what we're all trying to figure out, what the facts are, what the facts on facts are, and what we're all trying to come together and socialize on. And for me, I think it's my God-given right on any land that I stand on, that if I'm walking from point A to B, I'll be fine without a mask. Because wherever I will challenge that, that is my right. If the other person feels uncomfortable, well, now the stand siren is, you have the obligation to stand 6 feet away from me, 6 feet away from me, for at least for me to be comfortable with that. But that's also a weird way society works, to give that limit of 6 feet. It should happen naturally. It always has. When you walk from one block to another, you either know to not step into that side or to that side. Just,
Do you do
it's weird.
do you social distance also? Like if you're at a store or anything?
Yes, but I play with it. But I play with it. I play with it, but I'm not playing with it in a gambling way to bring sass to it. I'm saying that I'm not like I'm not like I, how can I say this? If we're going to look at the signs that are in the stores, I'm not that person to go, the sign that says one way down the aisle, I will not oblige by that one way. I will might go the opposite way. But if the fucking sticker is there to stand 6 feet apart from the customer in front of me, I will do it, because
Okay.
I have respect for the fact that it's their space. whatever. It's when they ask me, hey, can you help me? That stuff that has always been part of the fucking normalcy of communication, in my opinion, of, hey, if you see something, do something. If you can assist, assist. That's kind of like what this time is now, right? It's kind of like you almost have to ask permission. Do you mind if I give you a hug? Do you mind if I sit next to you?
Right.
You know, it's just in the subway, it's really fucking difficult because whether it's fucking on your way to work, whether you liked it or not before 2020, that person's going to be in your face. Now it's just like
Right.
mask or not, mask or not. But do you mind? what what is that? You know, and that's what I gamble with the logistics of all the subjects that I have yet to see in front of me. That I'm like, yeah, this is great. What everybody's picking and choosing to see, even myself included. I'm not foreign to this. I'm still learning. Welcome to my gambling of New York City. That's why I came back.
You missed the gamble. I get it. I get it.
I missed a gamble in one way or another, but now I can gamble with my life. This is my life we're talking about. I mean that shit. I don't know. There has never been a safe measure for my at all to feel something on my mask, on my face, and no, no. It's just me though.
Fair enough.
You know, I've been to places that have been dirty. I should have gotten it, and I've, you know,
Right. Right.
I'm according to all that, it's very dangerous. And I like danger apparently. How about you though? Tell me about, like, do you see yourself being very comfortable with that normalcy of like having a mask around to put it around your face when you do need to step into a store and stuff
Yeah.
like.
It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, majority, and maybe it's because I work from home. The majority of my time is spent not wearing one. So
Mhm.
the act means nothing to me.
Mhm.
It's a effortless gesture, and again, my mindset is just being considerate of other people and their concerns. But yeah, I honestly don't really care.
I get it. I get it. I understand that, and I have high respect to that because I agree. I agree. I do the same thing. But I feel like we're not talking about it from, or we shouldn't talk about it from a perspective of we shouldn't care or not, right? It's kind of
Well,
also
not
the,
we, me, I, not
yeah.
we, I.
No, I'm saying that now because I said the
Okay.
same thing about myself. Like, I I will. You could ask me whether or not I wear it at a store. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Do I go by the rules of 6 feet? Yeah, of course I do. Do I still, I still do those things on a level of respecting other people if that in that situation makes sense. But we're talking about something that has been implemented by people that of the same structure, that the fight before this conversation of mask has been the same problem. We talked about, like, a little bit about the social aspect of what it means to be black in this country,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like these implications of rules, and this is my issue on just the category this time, mask is like, all right, great, I understand, but then we have this and this, and they're all connecting to being the same issue here. And I that's where I would love to bridge the gap to people understanding that maybe a little bit more, that there is a connection to it all.
Right.
And the fact that I'm not saying, I'm not never questioning the comfortability of somebody else. Again, I consider myself a healer, and I'm on the adventure for that. So it's not about that. It's about what we're thinking it's okay on the form of being governed by something, because it is a
Right.
governing of something. You're obliging by a governing of something. You're saying, yes, I will do this for the people, because that's a government type of mentality being bestowed upon that person, right? And that's what I'm challenging. What is it that we are going to allow ourselves to be governed by on a collective level, where it makes sense, where we appease people? Because when have we ever appeased people in a way that I brought peace and equality into, up to this point? Up to this point, because I still don't see it with a damn mask on. I still
Right.
don't.
Right. I mean, I like, I get all that, and I agree all that. Like I said, it just doesn't take anything. It doesn't add or take away any value from my life. Like it's yeah. I mean, I think for me, my energy is focused on other things and or changing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess resistance in maybe different capacities. I don't. Yeah.
And what?
I don't. Because me wearing like if I were to go into a store and not have a mask on and just be the only person there, add into the race aspect, right? I'd just be like some crazy nigga in the store doing it, and all I would do would it wouldn't make me look like a resistance fighter. I would just look like a crazy nigga. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this person?
Well, that crazy
There's
nigga
no
already happened. There was a guy who
right,
did that.
right, but
Yeah.
there's no benefit. There's no benefit. I think at the end of the day.
Oh, I don't think I can agree with that. There's a major benefit because there it always only takes for me it's to honor what changes. It takes the one mutation in order to evolutionize some a chain of something else. Whether it's a good mutation into what we can
But the
deem as
mutations already
negative,
happened, like because like
right? But
the
that doesn't mean you
majority. No, no, I understand
there's a
that. I
cure for all
understand.
mutations, and it can be found in all. Yes, there is. No, no,
No, no, no.
we're
I
going back to just
understand. No, no, no.
basic
That's not.
idea of mutations.
I shook my head, but you ain't know what I was shaking my head at. So
Oh,
you
you're right. You're
just
right. You're right.
right,
You're right. You're
right,
right.
right. So I understand that mutations have cures. I'm saying that we're not there yet, and I'm saying that I believe that the majority
We
has
are.
like when I said earlier, like
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
lost to an
yeah,
extent, right? We
yeah,
lost. The majority
yeah.
have chosen their path. They've chosen what they want to do. That's just part of
Hmm.
society and culture now, right? Once it becomes part of culture, it's part of pop culture, right? Once it's part of culture, it's curated and it's part of society. It's part of just our identity now. That's the conditioning of it all.
True.
But
True. Very
so
true.
the resistance aspect of like not wearing a mask, it to me it doesn't deliver the message of saying that I'm fighting the good fight for you. It just makes people who have chosen their path say like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like vaxxers and anti-vaxxers, right? That's the divisiveness we're at, right? That's racism, white and black, right? Like what the fuck is this? Like
So
that's what we
interesting.
transition to, and this is just a new aspect to it, right? Mask, right? Mask and non-mask is vax. What is it? Anti-vaxxers and vaxxers. Once you create divisiveness, that's all that matters. Is them or other. They don't see you as Republican, Democrat. They don't see you as
So in a
someone
way,
who's
it's kind of
looking for
normal. It
them.
should be normal for us wearing a mask because then all of a sudden we look the same.
No,
Like
no.
but
There is no normalcy, like you said, right? There's no normalcy.
right. But what I'm trying to indicate at, if everyone's wearing a mask, there is no central division. So furthering your thought of
Right,
the fact that there is you have those people that are anti-vax, you have the people that wear the mask and don't care about the wearing mask, but every one of those people up to this point are still wearing a mask, going into the store, getting their groceries, and leaving because there's still probably people, and that because myself included, that are those part of the engaging conversations when we're back at our house that we can have the conversation free willy of our freedom of speech here to say, these are my opinions, but I'm still accountable to, yes, I am accountable
right.
with answering the question of, do you go to the store and wearing the mask? Yes. Do you blah, blah, blah. All these division and sections of, again, that divisiveness that, yes, left, right, right? But that's the thing isn't it funny though that now has become to a situation that, oh, okay, well, I guess it could be a good thing then that we're wearing a mask because it makes us all uniform. There are no judgments, there are no triggerings to seeing a possible divide.
Nah, there'll always be something, right? That's what the internet has provided us, the ability to hate more people. That's where we at.
Hmm.
That's what
Mm-hmm.
that's what the majority of people do on the internet, right? You just waste your time hating on people. Like that's just the game. That's what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like for me, you talked about like reality and truth. Like the reality is that divisiveness exists, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just we're just adding more and more to it. That's just what it is. So again, it's for me the message isn't being sent. Like
What's the
I don't
message
see
that
the
you could, let's say if you had the message, what's the message that you would send out?
if I had a message,
Yeah.
my message is fuck. All right, my message I guess is just self. realistically, I think it would have to be a top to bottom message. Like some real shit needs to happen on a top tier level for people to change their perspective and kind of wake up a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
How would you feel if somebody were to tell you that on a top tier level, things already have been taken care of, but on a lower level, they're not being able to share the truth
right,
because it's
so
being prevented?
at my heart, right. So at my heart, I'm an individual. I'm objectivist. I believe in a
Mm-hmm.
individual. I believe in the individual. I believe we as individuals we all are responsible for ourselves and our actions. And the only way change really occurs is from the bottom up. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
truly believe in. But I
Mm-hmm.
think applying it to where we are in society and how society operates now, it has to be top bottom because people are focused on ideologies now. They're focused on singular views. They're focused on hierarchy versus versus the the combined effort and the combined unity to kind of truly invoke change. It's me and these. It's all these. It's thousands of small pockets focusing on change for the individual self, and then everyone is. It's an infinite Venn diagram, right? We're
Right.
all in all these different Venn diagrams, but never getting closer to be that that one or two Venn diagrams at the top
Mm-hmm.
that really invoke the change that we need I don't even know anymore need I don't know if need is the word
Mm-hmm.
um because of I don't know like
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
about
understand.
the, whose fault is it, right? Like is it our fault on a social level for allowing it because we have the strength in numbers and all of that, or is it the people at the top who see see what they see where we're going, they see where as a society we're headed. They know it isn't good. Like global warming is ramping up. Like every day I'm on Reddit, and there's this Reddit called Collapse, and it just talks about like all the climate change and like Arctic sheets collapsing, and it's all the fucked up things happening to the earth that are just letting us know that like famine and all this wild shit's coming.
Mm-hmm.
To
Mm-hmm.
what degree is it true? Like who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But I always understand the villain's point of view because he
Mm-hmm.
he sees the issue with the majority, and the issue with the majority is like not tapping into the individuality because of the conditioning
Mm-hmm.
that the hierarchy implements.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um
It's interesting because
yeah.
have you ever heard of the show American Gods?
Nah.
So it's a show on Stars, I believe. I don't know the guy's character name, but one of the quotes, one of the things that he said is emphasizing why he loves anger in people, because at least in anger, people can change. People do
Right.
things, right? And that's kind of that villain aspect that you highlighted. It reminded me of that because it's true. I agree with that a lot. To also answer to what it is that you said, it happens from the bottom up, and the bottom up for me on like with a with a metaphysical twist on it for a second is honoring a post that funny the synchronicities, but I posted it up today on my post about that whatever effects happen, that your body is the roots of the ether, like you're
Right.
all right. So if your body is the roots of the ether, then everything that you are is the concept of honoring whatever they talk about in law of attraction manifestation. Whatever you put after I am, you are, right?
Right.
So in that, and then if you dive deeper, you look at it that it's the root chakra, gesundheit, it's the root chakra, and it's color red, passion, right? Change. I've been on this wavelength of thinking that for a while now. And I find it very interesting because, again, this reset that we've been talking about is all about that questioning sovereignty, questioning your own ego, questioning your own makeup of what you are. Are you going to pick a side? Are you like all these things, these nuanced pressures to our own physical body? And it's crazy because it is in it of itself a rebellion, some sort of revolutionary state of awareness, hence why it's also considered for other people as a great awakening that's happening, because it's tapping into that idea that literally everything that you are, you become, and you literally have control over. So it is narrowing a gap again of that, how can I say this, anxiety of not showing what's happening above and how is it affecting below, or how it,
Right.
what influences one another. Should I focus on that, on the ideologies, or not? Or should I focus on, like, all this weird
As
stuff
above, so
that,
below. Right.
exactly, all these weird nuances. And that's what's so interesting about this time, truthfully, because it is with honoring that, you know, man, as as a reader as I've been in the last while, um, I know even for myself, change is the most scariest thing for people to
Accept,
find
work
peace.
through.
Oh yeah, to
Yeah,
find peace in, man. Before either, before feeling something, knowing a change could possibly happen, and then feeling that anxiety, feeling the anxiety of the past. You know, all these things. They say anxiety is fear of the future, and depression is not letting go of the past. Right, like all these pressures, and that is all to battle any of those feelings is to accept change, point blank, period, right? And then when you brought up like the global aspect of change, which is like the, let's say it's the as above factor in this situation, right? Shit is happening whether you like it or not. You know,
right.
it's like fear then comes into mind, the fear of what it is, what does it mean to be existential, what does it mean to be in the moment, and to take that on, that knowledge, and to live with that, find peace and serenity. That's fucking difficult. Like, you know, like feeling how, who, what, when, and where is going to be impacted by these things. And that's that's what's so fragile about, I think, ever having a conversation about human life, because it's taking all those factors and respecting that that is part of the reality. And the ultimate part is like, well, what do we do collectively to bring as much peace to a situation, whether we know of its true coming or not? How do we bridge that gap? And for me, it's always been a very interesting subject on love. You got to be more loving to yourself, loving to others, find compassion and kindness, because
Yeah,
that's the vibration for me.
it's a lot. And hearing you kind of say it's a lot. It's a lot to unravel, right? So there's like, because there's so many layers. It's so,
Mm-hmm.
like, with self healing, like on your own, especially just trying to pin the dots, connect the string with everything, and like being in a thought for a bit, and then like fighting yourself. It's like it's a lot of work,
It's difficult.
right?
When
And
whoever invented the mirror, man, shit.
real shit. That's
No
real shit. I
shit,
like that.
man.
I like that.
No shit.
And who has time for that? And I think about that. I think about, like, this is like all my life really is just processing shit, and
Mm-hmm.
processing my own shit, and going through
Mm-hmm.
shit, and trying to just make sense out of it.
Right.
I know the end result is good because it helps me just be a better person, helps me develop. But I also
Right.
wonder, like, am I wasting my time, like, going through all of this? Like, couldn't it be?
Mm.
Shouldn't I just be living my life and do what the fuck I want to do? Because this is my only opportunity.
Right.
But
YOLO,
it's
as
not,
they say.
right, right, right. But it's not, like, that's not my journey. And I think that's what, whenever I have like self doubt, or whenever I'm just like, this ain't it. I just
Mm-hmm.
always realize that, yo, like, that ain't my journey. I tried it. This shit
Mm-hmm.
don't work. I've been doing this. It's working. It's not working as fast as I wanted to, and I know that's my fault and my ownership. And the work is the work. Like, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, 20 years, the work is the work,
That's
and I just
right.
keep doing it,
That's
and
true.
life pans out, and
That
that's
is
all it is.
true. That is true, because I think that's, man, you know from just like going through life coaching sessions with me and stuff like that, my pressure on like also having these conversations about time, and
Right.
doing different things. Like, wait, part of my personality wants to do this and this and this and this, right? It's like I want to do it all, right?
I
But
call
it's,
it hobby whoring. That's what I call myself, a
ah,
hobby
ooh,
whore.
oh, that's good. I like that. A hobby whore. Because my ass is going to be like, yeah, man, I'm sassy. I'm a hobby whore. Fuck yeah. I love
I'll
it.
make
I'm
a
going to
note of
use
that. I'm
that.
making a note of that.
Homage to you. So if you feel the
No, no,
vibrations,
no,
it's
no,
me
no.
using
Hold
that
on,
all
no,
the
no,
time.
no. Hold up. that's copyright of the brand. You can't use that.
That is
The brand owns that. All right, the brand owns that.
okay.
Yeah, the brand owns
Shit,
that.
that is good
So
stuff. Hobby whore.
I'm gonna trademark that real soon. I'm
Yeah,
gonna do it.
I'm not.
I mean,
I'm
nah,
not.
just
But
give me
I'm a
just give
witness
me
to
rights
this
to it.
situation, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Cheers. That was good. A hobby whore. Exactly, because that is exactly what I've also been worried about all my life. Like, I can't entertain all of these hobbies. I'd be considered a whore. You can't settle down. You can't have commitment. What does it mean to be a whore, right? Like, but I'm also myself, man. I'm explorative. I'm free. I do whatever the fuck I want, right? But it's like that's the pressure that I've felt with either not taking risks or taking certain risks that were against me in society. Having I don't know, being 31 now and not having certain things along the way. But even when I was younger, I remember that was the chime of worry for older people. Like, oh, when I was 30, I wish I had this, and I'm not. Like I knew that was going on, but you put a good twist on it of like, yeah, well, I'm a happy whore. I like to do things on different aspects of my time.
And now it's like I'm 30. I'm just glad I got what I got. Like I'm cool
Yeah,
with this.
damn
This is
fucking
enough.
right. This is
Thank you for allowing me to have this because I know, man, people ain't got shit. So like
wow.
I'm cool with this
That
to
is
an
real
extent.
talk because that is some heavy shit that I also experienced in my last. Whew. No one warned me. No one ever said anything about the late 20s. Why did no one talk about that? No one talks about the late 20 transition to the 30s where
Yeah.
it's a fucked up shit. Club 27, I totally understand. When they said the Club 27, the people that die of young age and they happen to all be 27. This shit is real. This is some real onset of emotions. Oh
That's real.
fuck.
That's real
That is
shit.
some real shit, man. And because I remember, oh man, I remember when I turned 30, I was going through all my shit. And then when somebody asked me, this was like a party at a house party. He's like, yeah, so where do you see yourself, next year on your birthday? I was like, I felt so insulted for that moment. I was like, what? I was trying to exist, man. Like that
Yeah,
was my
bitch, I'm
answer.
trying to live for
I'm just
today.
trying to
Like, I
fucking
don't give
live.
a fuck about that.
Shit, you know how hard it is to make us do today? Like shit, I can't even foresee the next 365 days. How dare you? Like shit. Fuck, I didn't even see this day coming, But wow, like
You
that's
made it.
yes.
Yeah, you
And
keep
that's
making
where
it,
it's
right?
like, yes, I'm like, we got no choice in the matter, so why not gamble?
That's
Okay.
yeah. No.
We're
That's real shit. That's
gambling.
I like how you brought that back. That's real.
Yeah, I had to take it back to that's what I mean.
So when you brought up like wanting to do a little bit of everything, I also I've been thinking about that a bit now also, and I kind of relate it to the desire for like perfection
Mm.
because perfection is
Ooh,
being able to
Virgo's
do
best
everything and
friend.
anything you want. So like
Uh-huh.
that's I realize it's part of the chase, and it's also the flaw too, right? Because you keep chasing
Yeah.
10 different things, you ain't gonna get anything. You gotta
Yeah.
slow down. You nurture and work on one or two things, and then you kind of just spread out and venture out as you establish the initial steps.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you say that because I had to challenge myself on that own application of thought because I realized why am I like a hobby whore, but in a way that I'm not also getting anything done, if that makes
Right,
sense.
right, right, right.
and and I
Doing
realized
too
like
much, right? You're doing too
yeah,
damn much.
not even just that but it's also like I mean, in psychology goes deep. I feel like it goes into like commitment issues. I can't commit to one thing and like finish it from beginning to end and like see it done because then when does the project ever really is perfect when it's
What's the
done,
last?
right?
What's the last thing you finished?
That's my spliff. I'm kidding.
Nah, yo, that's commitment right there. That's
you
commitment.
know,
Commitment
hey,
to
no,
the.
no, that's a lie because I didn't finish my spliff here actually.
You not
Um,
lying about it. Damn.
Nah, no, no, but no, I mean, like on a way that I feel gratified, it was definitely a split. Like I finished that, I feel great. Um, on a more, what did I? Oh, well, no, I'm not done with that yet. It's honestly to get a little bit more flow in my room. I like the progress where I'm at now. Like
Okay.
this is progress for me. Like where it's never, because the thing is I'm all about change. It's a hard psychology to get it behind. I like moving things around a lot. It's part of the
Okay,
hobby horror.
you like controlled chaos, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's what it is. That's what it is. Controlled chaos. I'm a fan of
I
that.
mean that's like a polite way to say hobby horror, right? There's like
Mm-hmm.
different layers to it, right?
That's true. No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
exactly what it is. I know where everything is and like I have control of it. But the problem is when it comes to creation, what I was going to bring up is that there is a level of happiness that I refuse to tap into sometimes. And that's what I've been.
For yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's, it's, I think it has a lot to do with in the past never feeling really able to indulge with what it is that I really like to do. So I've gotten used to abandoning things that I liked or thought I liked.
Right.
And that kind of kickstarted the idea that I don't need anything. So I just drop it. Like yeah, I was just like, fuck it, I'll get to it when I'll get to it kind of
Right,
thing.
right,
And I've been catching myself on that's something that I have to work through, for sure. But I've definitely saw that as an as an issue, as a little glitch, a
yeah, yeah. I
little bit
mean,
of a glitch.
it's the work in the progress, right? You start
Yeah, it's true.
realizing all the little things, and that's all that matters, right? You
Yeah,
realize it, and you're working on it. Fuck it,
yep.
that's it.
That's it, man. That's
Yeah.
it. Emotional attachment is when I say those things. Emotionally attached, because that's what I have to tell myself. Detach yourself emotionally. All right, got it. Did you understand? Yes. All right, cool. So, did you learn from
Look,
it? Are you willing to? Are you humble?
good
Yeah, yes.
job.
Good job. Good job. Yes. Yes. It's hard.
Rough, rough, rough,
It
rough,
is
rough.
rough. It's rough. But going back to what I said earlier, this journey of coming in alone, leaving alone, I always knew that. I took pride in that. Like all my whole being took complete pride in that. And with that honoring as well, I've made some amazing connections and having to love other people and figuring out love
You
and
said that like you were revoked. You said like
yeah, because I was like
you didn't really want to
oozing
do it.
it out, man. I'm like, yes. It's like I'm giving it the energy of that's what I was doing, oozing out that connection. And I saying that also revolting because it has fucking backfired. That's part of that energy too. It's definitely backfired in
Part
many
of the
ways.
experience too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, damn right.
That's the balance
Cheers.
of the experience. It wouldn't. Yeah, that's the
Yes,
balance.
that is the
The
absolute
you know
balance.
the good wouldn't be good without the shit, right?
Amen to that one.
It is what it is.
Amen to that one. I feel like that's the hobby horrors of life.
The hobby horse.
If that even made sense. Like it's just seeing all the things that the life gives you and like, oh, you're gonna entertain that or not? Oh yeah, you're gonna let it go. But
Like spinning a wheel, right? It's like wheel of hobbies. You just spin it.
like the mouse. Like
Yeah.
I just keep going.
So
Oh
you
man.
just keep hitting bankrupt because you don't ever start shit because you just enjoy
It's
the
so funny
game,
you say that
right?
because
You just want to play the game.
I just saw a me not too long ago with a mouse on like a wheel that's turned sideways. So he was trying to go so much, but it wasn't turning. He was like it was looked like he was trying to figure out how the wheel is supposed to turn, but he's going like vertically and it wasn't working for him. So I feel like that's a great analogy to what this part of the conversation is. It's like you're going, but it's the wheels actually
Not,
like actually
yeah.
turning.
And that's the healing. That's the waking up. Like, oh
Yeah,
shit,
damn right. That's the
hey,
healing. I got to
my
slow my ass
vibrations ain't
down.
doing shit. Right? My
Hmm.
vibrations ain't doing shit. So I need to
Slow
fix
down.
that first. Yeah.
I gotta slow it down. See what foundation I'm working on. Oh, the wheel's not even the way it's supposed to be for it to even move. And kind of take control of that. It's difficult. But damn, it's a humbling experience. I tell you what. Man, it's humbling. Because every step of the journey, no matter how crazy I think my life is, I'm like, I got it easy compared to some people out there,
Right.
It's like, whew, oh my god! If that doesn't in and of itself make life humbling to accept differences amongst each other, I don't understand what the fuck is wrong with people. Like, to be honest, like, I don't get it. Like,
That's the base. Yeah.
I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. It's amazing.
Yeah. That's my like. You don't get it. I say I don't know. I don't pretend I do. I don't like you said it. Like my brain don't operate at that level. Like I understand it exists, but I don't understand how like
I get
living
it.
life gets you to that point of view because it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. To you,
I
yeah.
mean, a lot of things, right? But, but like to me, but also like collectively, as you would say, collectively it doesn't
Correct.
make sense. And in the truth and reality of life, it doesn't make sense, or reality of its experience. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
compassion, and
Right. Right.
if it like I've I've worked up to the point, and maybe that's part of the mask too. I've worked up to the point where it doesn't bother me, and maybe a few years ago I'd be like, "What? Fuck this shit." But now, like, I'm old. I don't. I'm old at heart. I'm old. I'm old in my soul. I don't have energy for all that, man. Like, yo, it saves me time wearing it versus not wearing it and like having to talk to someone. Like, I'm
I
good. Like,
get it. I
on
get it.
in out. Leave
But
me the
this
fuck
is
alone,
exactly, I
man.
totally fucking get, and this is where it's amazing because then we have
And
other
that's the
people who are doing it.
disconnection.
No, it's
Right,
not.
right,
It's
right,
not the
right.
disconnection. Not at all. It's
Okay,
part of
for
the
me, I guess
connection.
for
It's
me it
part.
is.
I get it. That I understand that. I value that part, but I'm agreeing to you that yeah, I totally respect that you would see it as a disconnection. But that's your disconnection. That's like that's you being you. You continue being you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's also part of the collection, right? And there is no disconnect in you doing that at all. There is no level of right or wrongness. That's what I'm trying to say. Like we are so busy in using these things and putting a value onto something when why do we consistently have to put a value on something because in and of itself is a division for me, right? um for context what I'm saying, and
Right.
the disconnection though for me is not a disconnect because what other people are doing, you doing you, allows other people to do what they do, and might trigger those people who have the energy to do it to do it. That doesn't mean their fight doesn't belong to you. It's all fucking collective. People are doing
And
it, and
then
this is where the fight the fight is being taken care of. It's just the things that are being seen are difficult to understand at certain levels at the game.
yeah, and that's the awakening.
That's
That's the
correct.
reset, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. That is facts. That is
So
facts.
you have any high key moments or hike moments this past 2 weeks?
Mm. I had to create high key moments. Yes, I did. I had to become aware that my energy was very low last week. I think it was last Friday, and so I just ended up like throwing on some music and just like dancing in my room and like created a high key moment for myself. Just
Good.
really raising my vibrations to kind of what I'm trying to get more out there, why I say what raising vibrations means. It's just taking ownership of my own awareness, as best and kind to myself as possible in
Right.
the speed that I can handle it, and giving myself the medicine, and that's my medicine is music is my medicine, and that's where I'm learning how to create my own high key moments in a way that I can use it as like a subscription medicine of healing.
Right. Right.
I'm like, oh,
I think I
I
saw
need one of
you.
those moments.
I think I saw you hula hooping again
Mm-hmm.
this past week. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That is another way of honoring what we talked about last week. Of because I remember after our episode, I was like, I gotta develop those active parts of me,
Right.
the continuous movement, and I did end up hula hooping a few times, and it felt great. And I shared with you before that I always used to run away from certain pressures. Like I would feel like if I set myself a plan of something would come and just ruin it. Like, yeah, there's no such planning for you, girl, right?
Right.
And I feel
Control
that pressure.
chaos.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel that pressure is easing away for me a little bit more, and I enjoy that because now it's not a pressure of having to squeeze in 5 times a week of hula hooping. Like I just do it
Flow.
flow, and then when I'm like, all right girl, you really need to push the limits because you really need to do it now, your physical is lacking that I have to get with it, and that's That's the path I'm on. I'm feeling it. Like I'm getting more excited, genuinely excited to have some kind of like physical regime. Like
Yeah,
it's healthier for
the
me this time around. I don't know how to explain it.
yeah, the I feel like the hike moments are the challenging ones because it, w- moving at like a faster pace is just we're just not used to it, right? We're
Hmm.
just like used to the low level energy. Like I talked about the transition of prayer in like the last episode of the post podcast that I did. And I like in the past, you think about like native religion, prayer was like dancing and moving and like yeah, energy, high vibrations to the God. And like now, modern prayer is just like being on your knees and just talking.
I
Like there's
love
no
that you
energy,
say that. Yeah.
there's no the vibrations have been lowered, and I use the word disconnect. It's part of the systemic hierarchy to kind of suppress our vibrations and our connections to the ether and the possibilities. Um,
Oh, that hit me so hard just now. That's so beautiful. No, because it's so true. It's so true. Keep going. Sorry.
uh, um, so just I've been trying to like last year I wanted to run a marathon. Like I started training. The running wasn't going as good as I wanted it, as I was used to, because I was
Mhm,
just being hard on myself from what I was able to do prior.
mhm,
But COVID happened, and I use it as an excuse to not honor
mhm.
what I told myself. I was like, well,
It's very human. Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
running anymore.
Look at me. Sorry.
I can rationalize anything.
Pardon
Yo,
me. I
you
don't
okay?
know.
No, no, no. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. It was the
No,
music
but
part. It was the dancing because that's that's what it is. That's what it was for me. My whole experience for like my own spiritual awakening and tarot and everything that I do is realizing that dance was the prayer. Like you just answered something to me that I didn't understand what I was fucking doing. Like I didn't understand because it's amazing because in the last few while months I'm like what is a prayer? Like I don't understand. I never understood what prayer was. I was
right.
challenged by praying. I'm like, what is that? What does it mean to pray? Right. And it was always high vibrational with music for me. And I didn't know that that's prayer until you said it just now. Say, oh, that's all right. That's what I was doing. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's
So that,
like however you connect. So like exercise has kind of been my, I guess, my prayer. That's how I move. That's
mm,
how I increase my vibrations, especially
hmm,
running.
yeah.
I, I I love this. I love the zones. I love the
Hmm,
zones. Like I just have memories of like just being in that running zone and just escaping. Like I lived with my sister for a little bit,
hmm,
and they have like this trail in the like behind the complex, and it's like a trail like next to the river, and you can like run through little forest or whatever.
hmm.
And one day I just went out for a jog, and it started raining. I just kept pushing through. And I
Nice.
just kept diving and climbing like through these hills and going on these paths never did before, like jumping over logs and shit like this.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
shit is it's humbling. Like
yeah,
it
yeah,
you step away from yourself. You step away from your humanity and just kind of focus on the next level, the like the high connection. So
yeah.
running for me is just kind of doing that, and I haven't been able to do that in years, just because
Mm,
what I just realized is like my brain is just racing too much. Like
mhm,
I wanna run, but I also always have ideas, and I want to like have my phone and
mhm,
record.
mhm,
But like, and there's always a struggle back
mhm,
and forth. And some days I'm like, all right,
mhm.
no phone,
Yeah.
just jog.
Yeah.
But then it's like,
Yeah.
nah, but
Yeah.
wait, I got this idea. Yo, my shit,
Yeah.
but my shit jump like my shit
Mhm,
jump blades. Like I know I know it. I'm
mhm,
trying to like repeat to myself so I can remember.
mhm,
And I realized that I've been like I'm just unbalanced. Unbalanced between the high key and the hike, and need to kind of put my effort into running so I can get to the point where I can just enjoy it on that level that I used to again, because I know it helps me kind of break through. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's yeah, for me
Mm-hmm.
it's like those, for me those, it offers breakthrough moments because I can, you get again, you get rid of your excess, you get rid of the physical. And when you have it, like for me, you have experiences that kind of put you in the ether, put you, to make you feel out of body consciously, it brings you closer to whatever you need to find out. Like
Mm-hmm.
drugs, I guess, like smoking DMT, from what I see a lot of people talk about. Like
Mm-hmm.
the goal is to kind of just escape and
Right.
keep getting closer and closer until you
Right.
find
And
something.
little do we know that's stepping right into what it means to have a human experience. You're stepping into humanity. You're stepping into the exploration, what it means to have an existential life. And I think that's pretty remarkable for us giving ourselves the permission to trying to find again a healthy balance,
Right,
of whatever that means for us, and that's what I also enjoy about us, having this podcast together, because we get equally, for me especially, you give me that other element of myself that I've also enjoyed very much so. And I also, I don't know if also to say that I share the same feeling, but it's more of the association, like, why don't I run more? Because damn, I love running. I do love
right.
running. Like, I fucking love running. Like, I'm so prideful though. Like, I don't want anyone to tell me to go run. Like, or
You don't want anyone to say do anything, right?
no,
It's just like that's
nothing.
just
Like, that is, I'm a Virgo asshole for that for sure. Like, don't, I can't, nothing. Like, I cringe. Like, I cringe the moment I hear demand. I like, what was that?
I get
And
that. Like
like,
who the fuck, man?
what?
What? Like
My antenna starts turn. That's how you get my attention. Say what? like you, huh? What did I just hear? Run that back. But no, for real. But that's where where I get to realize that I don't want to project that type of behavior also. So for me, it's
right,
then taking accountability for myself, and how can I balance that for myself. And now it's witnessing, like, wow, whew, I've been struggling also with my health, in being in the way of finding something where I don't have chaos all the fucking time, whether it's
right.
chaos from not working out and having chaos, just two extremes. And uh now being able to realize what it means to more, like, have a healthier healthier application towards what it means to have a healthy lifestyle, and with it, because I'm I'd like to run, and I don't have to put myself in a pressure of running 5 times a week, unless I signed up maybe for a marathon, what I also had in mind a couple years ago. I was like, I'm gonna run, like, it'd be great. But that's where I'm missing the discipline where I think where we all have the ability to, I don't know, find the outsource to get assistance, right? When people have trainers and
It's hobby
mentors.
whoring.
Yeah. Finding those people who
Yo,
can assist a hobby horry.
I need to step. I need to step away real quick.
Sure.
Why don't you just tell the people about yourself while I'm gone?
Oh, about me. Okay.
Pressure.
Yeah, pressure, pressure. Let's see. Where can I start? Well, I have mentioned before that I have had an outpouring of my own creative um, insights and creativity. And recently, for me, in the last, when I say recent, I say in the last couple of years, it's been more an existential um, time period of having a spiritual awakening, and just realizing what it means for me to have a life experience. So, in and of itself, I've morphed more into metaphysical and what it means to have, the esoterics, and an identity morphed out of that in one way of for myself, and that has perpetuated the healing that I was going through. And Clifford has been part of that healing in honoring where I can pinpoint some of my, um, let's say, traumas, and be able to apply them in a way that will get me out of the crux that I was feeling at the time. So I was doing some life coaching sessions with him, and at the time, I was able to help me step out and into myself, step out of my invulnerabilities and into the ability of accepting that I have to ask for help, that I can ask for help, that help is always around. And he was a precipice for helping me to see that from somebody that at the point of my life at that time wasn't really around all the time. And my creative channel is an outlook for me to kind of express myself in a way that has helped me and may help other uh, people in understanding certain things. So hey, welcome
Gotcha.
back. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. What did they? What did you share with the people? Or should I? No, in fact, don't ever tell me. I'll
I'm not. I'm
watch.
not. You're
All right.
gonna have to find out. you
I like that. I
you'll
like
never know.
that.
You'll never know if it's gonna be nice or you're gonna find out. See how far the anxiety goes.
No anxiety.
Good. Perfect answer.
I'll get right to it. Let's see. I got the hour mark. It's the first thing I'm gonna listen to. First thing I'm gonna listen to.
What was said? What was said? Aw, man, Shari. Nah, it's all
Um.
good. It's all good.
Yeah.
But going back to music a little bit, I wanted to ask you: is there certain music that you generate closer to, more to, or do you even see music as being part of the pathway for the high key moments? Like, is there music that provides that in some way or another for you?
Um. Yeah, because usually, whenever I go out for a walk, if I go by myself, I have headphones on,
Hmm.
and I'm just listening to whatever the mood and the mental is in. And sometimes I realize that the music I listen to kind of shapes that. So I'm like, I don't want to be on this level right now. So I'm
Okay.
trying to avoid
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, Occasionally, we'll put Eric and I will put music on at night
Hmm.
and just just kind of cool out and listen to music and do our own personal work.
Hmm. What kind
I
of
found
what kind
this.
of music is it? Like, what kind of ambiance? Set the
Uh,
mood for me.
I like. I like. I like. She likes lo-fi music,
Oh,
and
okay.
I
Yeah,
vibe with that.
I vibe with
Usually,
that
when I
too.
choose, I go for like. I like jazz. I like nice
Hmm.
soft piano jazz music. I
Okay.
found this app called Radio Garden,
Radio, I'm gonna write that down. Radio
and
Garden.
it's
Write
just
that
like
down when I could just play this back later. Yeah, I'm old.
right, right. Let me take a note real
I'm
quick.
taking pen and paper, man.
Not even on your phone, right? Like
No,
you wrote
pen
it
and paper.
down.
Literally, pen
Oh,
and paper. I'm not playing around here.
but yeah, it just has like international radio stations from all over the world. So like,
Oh, cool.
there's one from Seoul, South Korea that I like listening to. I go to like disco, and like Erica made me realize that I like a lot of disco music, and I'm like, yeah, it's just like fun and vibrant. It feels good, so we play that a lot.
Oh, I
Um,
like that. She's bringing out the funk in you.
she's helping me realize it. She's helping me
That's
realize
cute. I love it. That's good.
yeah, and I mean, always there's always room for hip hop. There's always room for, especially like lately. I've been listening to XXX Tentacion,
Mm.
and
Mm.
he is like I talked about this a lot. Like not having black teen angst music growing up. Like there was
Mm.
no
Yeah, that's right.
emo
You did. Hmm.
hip hop or emo uh, rock group that was black. Now you have like Afro punk. So like there's this whole culture that offers that this other side.
Hmm.
So I've been like maybe last year, like I think I really started listening to his music and just became a fan of like I'm not a fan of most artists. Like I like artists, like I fuck with you, but like I'm a fan of like his music and it's his pain and his journey, and then like seeing how his life ended up. And
Hmm.
it's sad, like
Hmm.
I feel for the experience. I feel for the experience, um, but listening to his music like provides me with this like I want to say nourishment, not really nourishment. It provides me, I guess, with this energy that this allows me to kind of reconnect with those younger years when I was a teen
Oh,
and
nice. Hmm.
just feel good, like relive those experiences, but like feel good and like heal. Yeah, yeah,
Are you taking your?
definitely.
Is it like a taking your power back? Not that it's saying that was a negative thing, and not implying that,
No,
but kind of
no.
like.
It feels good. I think that's just what it is. It just
Mm-hmm.
it helps me. Um, so like some of, I guess, dealing with trauma and dealing with the self healing journey, some of that, is still there, right? I've been able to suppress it or like not worry about it because other things may have gotten better, or it just doesn't feel relevant anymore. But like listening to the music and like again relating to his age, what he was going through and his thought process, and where I am, because him as a teenager, he's still far ahead of me, right? Because he's a multi platinum winning, not
Right.
platinum, like multi platinum spins.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has multiple awards. He's like, and he's a teen, he's a kid. I'm 35, and like I'm still trying to get it.
Yeah.
So using, I mean, I think that's like I had like this whole thought process about his music,
Mm-hmm.
and it's that we look to the youth to keep us alive and to inspire us. So me being again 35, listening to this 17-year-old or listen to this teen who has similar visions or similar beliefs just in himself and understands like the grittiness of life, it inspires me to keep pushing through, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's telling kids, teens his age, like, like, keep pushing through, you gotta live your life the way you need to do. He's shown me the power of content. He's shown me the power of creativity
Mm-hmm.
through his music, through his art. And that's what this life experience is for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like creating content in whatever capacity. That's what I believe we all have a responsibility to do. In whatever capacity you create some type of content, just so that you share genuine part of yourself with society,
Right. Right.
right?
Correct.
So it's inspired me to kind of just keep pushing through. Like when I listen to music, when I'm running, I listen to his music because it gives me drive to kind of just keep pushing through, keep pushing forward.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah,
Is
and then
it
there's
the?
the regular shit, right?
And maybe this might be a silly question. I don't know, but maybe
I'll
answered
let you know.
already.
I'll let you know if
Yeah,
it's silly.
please, please. But but is it? Are you Are you not chasing? Because I'm not even trying to put a feeling to that. But when you listen to his music and you're running, for example, right? Um, is what's allowing you to push through it the same feeling that you had back then that you were able that you used to push through it, or is it giving yourself now the permission to push through something that you didn't know how to back then?
It's giving myself permission because I didn't have the concept or philosophy or the energy back then. Because if I
Gotcha.
did, I wouldn't be here. I'd
Right.
be more
Right.
successful or
I
whatever.
understand
Yeah.
what you think. Well, yeah. I
Yeah. Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. Because I think back then it's like it's we go collect. I believe that we collectively we go into the negatives first, right? Like when something happens, it's just like negative. Like what's wrong? What's bad? Um, and
Right.
usually that's just a feeling, right? Because the nature part, what we naturally are, we're naturally anything that's other is terrifying. Like that's just our innate
Mm-hmm.
nature.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, after the feeling is the thought process. Like I always say, just because you feel something doesn't make it right.
Correct.
Right? It may have feeling, it may have validity, but
Right.
what's the next step to it? Right? You rationalize it to see if it has validity.
True.
So
True.
I can. Oh, damn, I lost it. What was that? What was I even talking about? I
Sorry.
lost
I'm
it. I
like,
lost
oh,
it.
we're high. Oh, those moments. But
Yeah, yeah.
but I was so following your thought that I was going to add on to that, and
Oh, go, 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 do
what
that.
I was hearing from you is the element of, well, the oh no, it's happening. I'm losing it too. It's happening, Clifford. What's happening?
Um,
Is
it was
it's right there?
running, and whether it
Yeah.
was
Uh-huh. Oh, I
was it
asked you the
giving myself
question.
permission, giving
Correct.
myself permission. Yeah,
Be
yeah.
back on track. Look at that,
Back, yeah,
experts.
yeah. So it's for me, it's just more about Yeah, it is. I really like the idea of permission because like there's this one song he has called Schizophrenia,
Mm,
um, and of course it's just like don't give up, don't give up. So like when I'm running up this hill, I play that, and it's
mm,
just like giving myself permission to be like, yo, you have the power to do this. You have
mm-hmm,
you have the strength, you have the ability to do it. So yeah,
mm-hmm,
it's definitely the permission. Oh yeah,
mm-hmm. That's
I like
cool.
that. I like that.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. It's you. It's your words, not mine.
No, no, you
you
said
va-
permission though.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
said
yeah.
permission.
But you validated it, so no worries. It's
There
my
we go.
pleasure. But no, it's important because like that's where I'm I'm realizing music is all about that essentially, right? That just makes it so timeless. I mean, you
All
know,
art, right? That's what art is.
yeah, it's timeless, man. And the biggest respect that I do have, whether I agree with it or not, are different people's responses to either the same thing or their own inclination to whatever they express or how they art, right? Or their journey to figuring out if they can art. You know, I believe everyone can art.
I like that you use it as a verb. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
like
that you can art. like
yeah, you can art. You can definitely art.
you can art. Let's
Mm-hmm.
put that on a shirt too. You can art.
You
How
can
me know
art.
it without you
Yeah,
can art.
yeah. You can art. It's funny because it's I believe in that. I believe in. I think my one of my profiles is like I art and like my is it that is what I do. In my readings, what I give, what I communicate with the messages that I can share. If somebody is willing, able, and desiring to accept it or not, that is something that I also accept.
Right.
You know, and that is something that comes with the territory of sharing energy, regardless. So that in and of itself is what I'm saying. We all are arting. We are art. You
We
art.
all are arting.
We all are arting. It's the
Well,
authentic
we should.
journey of being
Well,
self.
I think we should be, but all of us aren't because we aren't. I don't.
Oh no,
I
we're
think
still arting. I think we're all arting. I
yeah,
still think where
but
some of
it
us don't have
isn't.
good paint. So some of us don't know we are paint and don't know what the fuck we're doing with our responsibilities.
I get what you mean. Like in some capacity, no matter what you do or don't do, you're still doing something. I guess for me, I'm looking at art more in terms of like what did I say earlier? Just
The creative
giving
content kind
part
of
of
thing.
yourself. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yes, yes.
giving a genuine part of yourself. Like real
Correct.
art is supposed to be vulnerable, right? So I guess I'm looking at it on that aspect. I want to see.
True.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
want to
yeah.
see more
No, you're
vulnerability.
right.
I want to see people be more real.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We're left really well. Although we are living in very real times, there has always been, I feel, a f- um, this weird fear of being real, and that comes with
Yeah.
judgments, whatever, right? So yeah, absolutely.
It's easier to be fake. Also,
Oh yeah, I mean, I hear people talk about it all the time, like fake it till you make it, and it's like people let each other know that, man, just fake it till you make it. You know, it's
I
like
can't even do that. I can't try that. It
I
doesn't work.
I don't I don't think I can do it either. Like I blend in, I'm mutable. You know what I mean? I like acclimatize, but I do it out of sheer
Not without the
interest.
mask, you don't blend in.
Say it.
Not without the mask, you don't blend in.
You're damn fucking right. I don't. That
uh,
yes, you pay attention. Yes, I said those words. That is very true. I do not blend in. No, no, and it's crazy because I'm at a point where I'm like, gosh, like now it's gotten to the point where I'm like, I'll wear the mask and I'll put my own art on the mask to explain to people what it is that I'm doing when they're looking at me and why I'm wearing the mask. And you know, like
I'm arting.
I'm arting, insert my opinion on this mask. You know, available whenever. So, but you know, it's yeah, no, I won't blend in with the masking. That's true. Maybe sometimes on the subway you'll see me blend in,
Yeah,
but that's okay.
you don't need to, right?
I don't really care for people to see me. So in the subway, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'll wear a mask there. I don't care for people like that. I stay hidden.
Now you blended
I
in.
stay
Now you one of us, right?
invisible. Yeah, now
Now you're a sheep,
now
just like
I'm a
us.
sheep. That goes to my head for real. I do that.
Oh damn!
I know I
I
do
don't.
that.
I mean, we all comply some capacity, right?
Right, of course, but that's
Can't
where I
you
have to
can't
keep
fight
myself in
against that.
check. That's where I have to keep myself in check because this is
How much
where
are you willing to give up?
you're damn right. And that's where I have to keep my authentic self totally in check. Like, who am I being fake to? What am I doing? And like, what am I? what am I appeasing in that situation that I'm either running away from or feeling afraid of, if there is such thing, is it, and that's what I'm saying is the whole beautiful controversial subject of masks or unmasking.
And everything else, right?
And everything else in between, and in the subreddits.
Do you use Reddit at all?
Not so much as I used to in the past. Not so much. I know that it's been, some people say it's been compromised,
It
as
is
far as,
absolutely.
yeah, so I have no interest of trying to, that energy of fishing out good information from others is exhausting at this point for me.
Yeah,
So this is one of the elements where I come off as saying I don't watch news, but it doesn't mean I'm not paying attention to what's going on. Um, but yeah. Oh, talk about masking what's going on. Have you heard about the latest news about the Pentagon and the microchip?
yeah.
Then you saw that? Yeah.
I saw that.
Doesn't
I
that
saw that.
sound?
I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that, right? Yeah.
Saw that.
Oh,
There's this meme that somebody made
mhm.
on this, and I think the title is like, what to tell your friend who's a conspiracy theorist,
Yeah.
and the kid is like, "I'm sorry, you were absolutely right." That's all I think about. That's all I think about.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
every time, like the news does what people said was happening last year, I'm like, we tried to, we wanted to prepare. We wanted to,
Oh,
you
because I
know,
definitely have. I have. If they didn't take some of that information from me away, I have some. Some. What is it? What is it called? Like, and Facebook would be like, this time last year. Like, I have some story
yeah.
updates from last year that could be like, oh yeah, I can show you the evidence where we all tried to warn you.
But then it's like, again, what it doesn't matter. Like, so this ties into my point about the masters and no mask. It doesn't matter. They've already made their choice that they're gonna. It's I don't know. It's weird. People, about people socially, we've gone to a place where people would just believe anything, and I don't know. Like, I'm trying not to uh, disconnect, because I mean, yeah, I guess I am trying not to disconnect, and I feel like I am making effort, because this is the work, just
Of
trying
course,
to,
exactly. Yeah,
again, this
exactly.
do content,
Mm-hmm.
talk, talk, talk,
Correct.
talk, talk, hit it
Correct.
big, hit it big one day, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, I guess that's the balance, and like you said, consuming less news, consuming less content that less like not worthwhile. I muted a bunch of people on Twitter. Um, I deleted like an old account, got rid of a bunch of Reddits, just like minimizing and just focusing on what's important, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just creating
Mm-hmm.
family,
Mm-hmm.
the lady, and
Mm-hmm.
making life good.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like, that's all I can do. Just look,
Yeah.
make
Sounds very
good
simple, but all of that is a lot of
all
work. Oh, yeah.
every day, every day, all
Every
day,
day,
every day.
every day. Every day we hustling.
Amen.
Every day we
Vibration,
hustling.
vibration.
Hustling, hustling. But it's, it gets hustle in life. No, honestly, it's just being more comedic on the situation, because those are the things that I think most of us either value or want or desire is, I don't want to say minimalism, but it's more of like, taking the things for what we have and making that work. Like, that's challenging enough to build sustainability, to build a foundation that can last.
Like,
It's showing up.
I did a so I have like a bunch of shit on IGTV now. I just never post it, but I have this thing called like random rambles, where I just like voice record myself saying crazy shit, not
Oh, I
crazy
love
shit, but just
that.
like thought provoking shit, and it's
Yeah.
just there. So
Uh-huh.
I think I did this one post earlier this week talking about um how, like, growing up, all we really wanted was like a good job and a good family. We just want like these two simple things. And as we've gone through the life experience, we've kept feeding into wanting more and more and more and more and more, right? The hobby whoring, right?
Yep.
The desire just to never be satisfied and to be consumers, right? Like, we're conditioned to kind of be consumers.
Right.
And so many of us have, you know, fallen into the consumerism aspect, but also
Mhm.
don't have jobs that we're happy to go to, and don't have good
Right.
relationships with people. So like the two most simple things that we wanted in life growing up, we didn't even give ourselves that, and it's it's sad for us. It's sad for
Mm-hmm.
us to sacrifice sacrifice or just accept so much of what doesn't really
Right.
nourish
Right.
what we want to do in this life experience.
Right.
Um, and like those should be the base, right? Like
Right.
good work in any capacity. Like your work.
Right.
I always use the idea of like a janitor because I've worked in different places and seen people interact with janitors on different levels, but everyone's role has an impact, and just
Mm-hmm.
because janitor does janitorial work 9 to 5, like he could be, you play jazz in a band late at night, right? Like
That's right.
the work you do to get by doesn't necessarily define you.
He could be a
It's what you choose to
mathematician
do
for
for
all
your
we
life.
know. He just never got a
Right,
job, and that's what he loves to do is study maths.
right,
Like,
yeah. Or he just he just has his own subreddit group or Facebook group where
right.
he just talks smash with people, right? Like
Right.
the the you know the benefit of the internet is that it's connected us, and we
Correct.
have the ability to just connect with like-minded people and focus on the positive side of like the work we can do and the way we can support and influence each other. um and it's just like chasing that and
Mm-hmm.
focusing on that. Like that's that's what I believe in. That's I call myself naive a lot, and I know I'm not naive. It's just I'm just hopeful, like because it seems so simple, right? It seems
Right.
man simple,
I
but
agree with you. I
the
agree with
challenge
you.
is, like you said, there's so much, and there's so
Mm-hmm.
layers and layers. So one life you don't want to waste it trying to do shit that don't
Mm-hmm.
matter,
Mm-hmm.
gigolo, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you know,
100%.
yeah,
I've seen that on both sides. I mean, we didn't say it in this podcast or whatever, but we used to work together before, and just in
right,
general, not in the same apartment department, but in this for the same company. And my my level of work ethic that I had, no matter where, prior to that work company as well, is the foundational aspect of the structure of what I'm working for and with, and I hold everyone accountable to the degree of what is being said, that they signed up for the accountability of what it is they said they want to do.
I call
And
it the social contract.
exactly, exactly. And I am notorious for chasing that fight, as in I don't shut up. I don't shut. I'm a problem in that regard of like not bringing up issues that I'm like, well, if you want us to do this, then this shouldn't this be, then we maybe need to look at this, because I
Right,
think this could be a solution. Let's find a solution. And that is where I've realized that, everyone's job to bring something forward is important. Everyone from anyone who's doing anything in a job to bring the quality of the essence of the brand itself, whatever it is that you're working for, is important. So I
right,
knew that from being on from the lower tiers and making it up to being a manager at one point. And then I learned it from just walking outside. And I remember in at a time where my personal life was struggling, I got into an argument with one this was years ago with a significant other at the time. And I remember I was walking in Upper West Side, and I was sitting on a bench, and there was a homeless person sitting on a bench, but it's a fucking bench, and I felt no threat at all. And I sat down, and I was smoking cigarettes at the time. Put on some cigarettes,
I
one of
think
those
we all
nights.
did. I did too.
Oh yeah, I remember those nights. And so he wasn't one of those like evasive, like asking for anything, but he was very polite, saying, "Hey, do you mind if I have a cigarette?" I was like, "No, sure." And I gave him more than one. I gave him like a couple, and he said thank you. And of course, it was another like onset to start the conversation. But what I benefited from that conversation, what he said was like, I would have never, I didn't think you would like say anything to me. Like, you don't have, I'm surprised that you're having a conversation at all with me. And I'm
Right,
thinking, from a humanistic point of view, I'm like, Well, that's sad that that's coming ever at your mouth, on whether whatever. I don't care about his life, whatever. And not that I don't care about his life. I don't know his reasons why he's who he is. I don't have no judgments for the
Right.
individual, but the moment at hand. And the moment of him asking, I can supply with something that I can
Right.
give. I have excess, I can give. There's no reason I need to negate that. There's no boundaries that's initially can be crossed because I have excess. I can give you. It's fine, right?
And you have a job, you can always get more. It's
Yeah,
like not
it's like
giving someone $5 or $1
right,
in your
like
pocket when you walk by. You're
right.
good.
And I was just
You're good.
cussing out
You
my
got it.
ex at the time, but I don't need to cuss him out. That's
Right.
another
Right.
thing,
Right.
I did
Right.
not take my energy and put it onto this individual. It has nothing to do with him and nothing to do with me. It's a transaction of cigarettes at that moment. And then him then eventually it was nothing threatened of it at all, honestly. And I just that's what struck me the most that hit my heart to hear him say those words uh, like you don't even need to have this conversation. Like who the fuck goes around saying these? Like where do we go to society that I don't care what the pride I don't care what it is. I don't know its history till this day. But what has happened in society to get to a point of thinking that there is an absolute division or should be based on what scenario that someone would think, oh, I'm surprised you're even talking to me. That's sad to me. That's sad
It
to me
is.
that that is a thing. And that's what I'm trying to say. I've seen it in both sides. Just be yourself in a way that you can give your honest self. And for me, it's fighting for the stability that needs to be there at most times. And for me, it's when I work for something, I challenge the foundation, and I challenge the foundation just as much as outside in society of myself. Of this is the foundation of equal reciprocity, as at least in kindness, at least in
Right.
kindness.
Yeah. Like I think I've kind of like defined the idea of like the social contract probably like earlier this year, last year, but just again, if you want to be part of it, like you have to contribute in some capacity, and it has to be genuine, and it has to be authentic. I mean, genuine, authentic, the same thing. It has to be authentic, right? Because what else is it for? Like your individuality is important. Just like you use the analogy of working and transition to the idea of like working out of space. Like you said you're gonna pay me X amount of dollars for X amount of work. Like we
Mhm.
have an agreement.
Correct.
I'm cool with that.
Right.
I agreed to participate in this, so I'm gonna put the effort in and do my part because you need to do your part. You need to pay me, right? We all do
Right.
our part. We all
Correct.
do our part. The business is successful, and it benefits us down the line. But I've been looking at that on the human experience, right? If we all do our parts as individual humans, then the human experience evolves. When the human experience succeeds, we succeed, right?
Hmm.
When uh, when first person, I mean, within our lifetime, if a human will land on Mars, we're gonna be like, wow, like we're gonna feel that energy. So you want to be a part of it. You want to know that you're contributing in some capacity, however you can, because
Hmm.
every minimal effort, every extra hand allows us to get there sooner, faster, and more honorably. The challenge is that since going back from like bottom up, top bottom, since we're not doing our part in mass as individuals, the people at the top are just doing it in our favor without our awareness and without informing us of what's really going on. So
Right.
I get it. Again, I see the villain's point of view. Niggas don't know better. Some niggas don't know better. Like that's just what it is. Yo, you gotta hold people's hand. Unfortunately, and it's all our faults and it's all our responsibilities.
Yes. 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 It
Yeah.
it, it is
No.
definitely no. You're right. You're. I can't really challenge really much against it besides the fact of knowing that everything that has been controlling it is based on something that is a control aspect that should have never worked.
Right.
That ownership to the 1% is what I'm trying to say. That has ruled the 99 kind of aspect, that kind of conversation. Um, that's where I know I have faith and hope that the power of the people are going to over supersede that the 99% are going against the 1%. That for
You
me
you
is
see that happening in your
oh
lifetime?
100%, 100%. The process, yes. Absolution, no, that takes time. We're trying to take what people are considering as 400 years of bullshit, minimalistically speaking, and trying to ask in one lifetime to get fixed. That's a lot. That's a lot. But not impossible when we're going to honor how fast frequency has been moving. If wherever you can go nowadays, whether it's your Reddit of climate change, we can understand frequency is picking up. We've seen the outcomes of it shifting on that plane of existence, that it's tornado, whatever it can bring, that high frequency. Is it chaos? Yes. Is it also controlled chaos? Yes, it is. Mother Nature knows what it's doing. Universe, there's some sort of righteousness in why it's happening. Just because you don't have control in it doesn't mean that you don't have righteousness in it or understanding that journey, right? So
Right.
to accept that, at least in our journey of that fearing, I think for some of it is fearsome. I mean, I don't know if I said it before in this podcast or anything, but I've said that growing up in my lifetime, I had feared deep, dark nightmares of the world ending. And look at me here now. And I'm not as freaking out as before, right? And that's
Right.
with
You grew.
I
Yeah.
grew, and I grew in ways that, I'm sure we can cover that another way, another time. But ultimately, what I grew into knowing is something that has at least given me peace and serenity, and something that has riddled my anxiety for fucking years. And that in and of itself gives me permission to not be so scared, because again, to honor myself and whatever I believe in, whatever people get criticized or think of the criticism of me being me, is that I have my own right of authentic sovereignty, and it is a gamble in and of itself. Now, what I bring up with the frequency that's here, and everywhere you go, I'm hearing people in their explorative ways of figuring out what's going on. Yeah, I mean, things are changing, man. I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that. So let's just think for a second, it's energy moving faster, things happening faster. So then imagine, okay, let's say if we can understand that faster, and we're going to train now people to behave kindly with one another, because our power of connectivity is so crazy that imagine us all connecting, and then the frequency is all vibrating together on that beautiful energy will be just as fast as the destruction that's supposedly supposed to come or is around us, right? It's checks and balances, is knowing that energy works in duality and duality only, right? And
I really like your optimism, but I'm imagining the microchips. Like speaking about frequency,
oh
thinking
yes,
about
you
the
know what's on the
microchip
CDC website.
controlling frequency and limiting mass frequency. That's
Hmm.
my
Yeah,
envisioning. But
but
yeah,
with to honor, I mean, this is not for nothing, this is to honor how change works in life. Again, change works
right,
in accepting that there are things that we'll be getting rid of. It just comes with the territory. Is not
right.
something that I think that in our lifetime we should continue in 2021 be afraid of, understanding and accepting that death and life is part of the experience, of the human experience, is part of life. And that's where I'm seeing the
I think you muted yourself. Yeah,
oops.
there you go.
Oops. Wow, that's weird. But the element of having to now be able to reach a situation so remarkable in our time of history making is to be able to, I hate the cliche sound of this, hope and faith, but that's what kind of it is at the end of the day.
Yeah,
um to control yourself, have a better lifestyle, and stay away from, not stay away, face the fears, but be able to accept that you can transition yourself out of them, that there are things that you can do and we can all do collectively to not be afraid of, again, of what we think we know or don't know what's coming, because either way it's a beautiful thing. Either way
right.
it's a beautiful thing. If we consider every time nature, something chaotic has come and nature has come and tried to heal it, it's been a beautiful thing. Nature always
Yeah.
wins in that case. It's just we're
The goal
here
is just
feeling all that shit.
Yeah, the goal is just to be ready, right? Like that's really all there is you can do, because
That's all
time
you
is
can
going to
do.
change and move forward.
Mhm.
Do the work and be ready,
Yep.
and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we can wrap
Sounds
up.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, always always fun rocking now.
Yeah,
We
it's
kind of
great.
just went. It was a lot of good and off wall transitions, but
Yeah, for real.
always works.
It was always works. It's been a pleasure like always catching up and just keeping this conversations going. It's nice.
Definitely, definitely. You can find me on IG at Gulp Conditioning. You can follow us on the Hike Life, HIGHke.
And you can
And you?
follow and and you can follow me on at on IG right now at underscore number seventh goddess. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
All right, cool. Next time.
Next
Peace.
time. Bye.
Later.